Greetings YouTube! Today I'm talking about a gaming product, and it came in this little bag. I bought this as part of an online sale. It was a very good sale. I think I paid like 50 cents or 60 cents for this particular item. And NM stands for near mint, and I would have to agree that this is a product is in fact in near mint condition. This is from the What system, and I'll be completely honest, I have no idea what stands for. And it's customizable role-playing game, and this is the Creatures book. It was originally priced $3.50, and this, I guess, must be the product code. It is from the guildofblades.com, and Guild of Blades, and there's a logo down here. There's text on there, but way too small for me to see. The next generation in gaming has arrived. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to buy that. This has a very old school vibe to it. This looks like it was put together by amateurs done in 1984, and this is from 2002. I find it kind of amazing that this was done like this. But it says, What Creatures? Writer Joe Porritt, James Kyle, illustrated by Ed Heil. Editor Ryan Johnson, James Kyle, proofreader Tammy Marie. I have to admit, I do like Mr. Heil's artwork. I think it's quite well done. It has a nice old school vibe to it. Interesting, no monsters that start with an A. But we start with the Basilisk, and then we get a Centaur, which are kind of classic versions of those creatures. Then we have the Drake. Now I really like their take on drakes or dragons, and I like it because the way they take it is there's more logic involved than I've seen most times. For example, the Drake that lives in the cold regions, the Frost Drake, has a fire breath weapon, and the creature that lives in the hot zone, the red-scaled dragon, the classic dragon, has a cold breath weapon. Why? Because if you are in the frost environment, all the people around you have defenses against frost, and probably poor defenses against heat, and the vice versa for the dragon living in hot environments. So that was one of the first times I've ever seen anything that made that much sense, which just made me smile. Then we have Fire Lord, which are kind of elementals. Gargoyles, the Gogi, which are kind of their first year animated blobs, essentially. Then we have a Gorgon, kind of the classic take on the Greek myth. Then we have a Hole, which is also like the Sarlacc pit. There you go. There's a Sarlacc pit. Then we have the Ice Maiden, kind of the opposite of the Fire Lord. Then we have the Irion, which has got this whole demon vibe going on there with 4 arms and a snake body. Makes me think very much of India. Then we have the Larvae. They're magical parasites, which is kind of a nice idea. Now this one I really liked. Oops. Right. That is the Leodrak. Now the name does not strike me as great. I would have called them Dragon Lions, but that's just me. But the idea of terrestrial, non-winged fusions of creatures, I happen to really like this idea. I like the idea of dragon-themed, or I always like fusion. The Greek monsters that fuse creatures together are always some of my favorites, and this is a nice execution of that. The Dragon Turtle from classic D&D is another example I happen to like. For example, I like wingless griffins that are scaled as dogs. I like them scaled so that they are useful as steeds. Obviously, a dog shape would be useful for a small person. So I kind of like that, and I really like this artwork. It was well done. Then we have a race of a boreal intelligent species known as the Maish, or Mish. It's M-Y-E-S-H. I'm not sure how you say that. And there's no pronunciation guide on that one. Then we have the Paracelcid grub, which is disturbingly icky looking. Then we have the classic satyr. And everybody needs a satyr. Then we have the Salthine, or no, Salthine? Xylthine? Exotic cat people. They're Wemics. Then we have a skeletal warrior, a two-headed troll, the Tuhulthu, ill-tempered species that thrive in subtropical climes, burrowing cave-like large layers straight down and into the earth. They are sometimes regarded as gods by tribes living near them and are worshipped accordingly. And then we have a vampire, and that's the end of the book. Now, each of the entries has hit points, initiative, dodge, ability, what their attack is designed as. In the case of vampires, it's a weapon, their defense, their intelligence, experience value, and the effects that they can exert on people. For example, a vampire can exert a drain or a mesmerize ability, and then description thereof. Overall, it's a very stripped down monster manual. This would give a GM an idea of how to create creatures of his own. I don't have the core rules. There may be creatures in the core rules. More of your classic, goblins, hobgoblins, orcs, things like that. I'm not sure. Again, I just purchased because it was a cheap monster tile book, and I like monster books. So there you have it. I think it's a nice reflection of old school design, literal old school design, not trying to emulate old school versions of D&D, but the type of design that had existed in the 80s. But this came out in 2002. Some folks like their nostalgia, I guess. But I don't think I'll be using this in my gaming at all. This has a couple of nice ideas, and I will just steal those ideas and move on. But I don't think I'll be using this system itself. But it was nice to get an opportunity to take a look at someone else's rules, someone else's take on some of these monsters, because options, are always good.